JumpStart IT Academy. Get skilled in IT over a college degree. JumpStart IT Academy helps you excel in IT by shortening your learning curve. What I'm going to do is go into an article about student debt and what I promote at Jumpstart IT Academy is to get skilled in IT over a college degree. That doesn't mean I don't want you to go get college educated because there may be a purpose behind it. I have 3 college degrees, so I was able to leverage the college degree in my IT profession or my IT career. And that's what I teach you to do, to use college strategically. Because as we go into this article, you're going to see that if you don't use college strategically and you use it traditionally, you may be caught up in what are some of the ills of the college debt, the debt bubble, that is. So let's go into this article. Student debt increases by 170% this decade, Federal Reserve data shows. Now, this is brought to you by CNBC.com. I will put the article in the description below. So, as 2019 comes to a close, for many doing a review of their finances, the decade will likely be defined by student debt. Today, some 44 million Americans collectively hold nearly 1.6 trillion in student debt. Given that there are approximately 242 million Americans over the age of 18, that means that roughly 18% of American adults are paying off student loans. What you need to understand is if you're not approaching college strategically, if you're not approaching college with the mindset that I have to get more out of this than this college is getting from me, then what you're going to do is you're going to slow your progress down and you're going to hinder your chances of succeeding in this global economy, which moves very fast. And if you don't have the skill sets, if you don't have the plan, if you don't have the mentors, if you don't have the tools to succeed, then you won't be at the top, nor will you be able to reach your potential. And that's critically important. That's more important than reaching the proverbial top of any success, of any field, or of any salary. So these rates are even higher among young people, according to the Federal Reserve. Over half of young adults who went to college in 2018 took on debt. At the end of 2009, Americans held roughly 772 billion in student loans. By the end of 2019, that total had spiked by nearly 1.6 trillion. That's an increase of 107%. Wow. Let's pause, just let that sink in. That's a whole lot of money. I would say that what we're looking at is a society that is dependent upon debt, but also dependent upon the traditional method of succeeding. I think what people are still believing is that you graduate college, you go get a good job, and then your life is pretty much set. That's not the case. There are plenty of people who have college degrees that aren't able to get a job. They aren't able to succeed because in this world, in this global economy where it's highly competitive, you're in a situation where you're not just competing with people locally or nearby. You're competing with people all around the world. And if you want to compete with people all around the world, then you have to make sure and ensure that your skills are viable at all times. And debt can hinder, and not having a strategic approach to college can hinder you as well. So 107%, that is a large increase. Here's how much Americans' outstanding student debt has grown over the past 10 years to the Federal Reserve, and they're just showing you this chart where it just keeps escalating and increasing. As student debt totals have risen, Americans have begun to reconsider whether college is the right choice for them. I would say that's a good decision. And that's why I don't tell you don't go to college. I tell you be strategic about your approach to college. My approach was really straightforward. I knew, or I looked at college as a profit center. And a profit center is an MBA term basically to say that these colleges exist to make a profit. And if they exist to make a profit, that means they're trying to get resources from me. How can I use the resources that they have, the knowledge, the reputation, the branding that they have to my benefits so that it would propel me to higher heights of success and not just simply be a deposit of resources into their coffers? In 2013, a Gallup poll found that 70% of U.S. adults considered a college education to be very important. 23% felt it was fairly important, and 6% said it was not too important. In 2019, those figures have fallen significantly to 51%, 36%, and 13% respectively. The biggest shift can be seen among young adults between the ages 18 and 29. In 2013, 74% of Americans in this age group said college was very important, but 2019, 41% said the same thing. So that has dropped significantly. It sounds to me that the veil of college, this mystique institution that will give you success beyond your wildest dreams, it sounds like that veil is being removed, and students are starting to see that they need to look at their education as an investment. Even though they're borrowing this capital to be able to go to college and they're investing in their future, they have to look at it as not just an investment into the proverbial future, like this elusive time that exists beyond where you stand. The future is in you, and the future is today. So if you don't look at your investment in college as something that will hinder you in the future, if it doesn't enable you now, then you need to reconsider your choice so that you're making a wise decision, and you're looking at this money that you're borrowing right now as something that can take you where you need to go, instead of just following the crowd or the trends or what your mother or your father did, or what somebody you saw on your favorite television show or some favorite actor has done. You must do what's best for your future, because you have to live your future, and you have to suffer the consequences or enjoy the rewards of the choices that you make in the present concerning your college decisions. Stephanie Markin, author of The New Analysis and executive director of education research at Gallup, says the changes are cause for concern. I would say they're cause for concern for those who don't want to incur debt which would disable them. It's also a cause for concern for those colleges. They want that money. And if they want that money, it seems to me as if college has marketed to students very well in making students believe that you have to go to college to succeed. In the IT industry, it turns that upside down. I was in the IT industry for about 10 years before I even considered a college degree. And I only considered a college degree because I wanted to make sure that I had opportunities to go into executive management later in my career. If I didn't consider my future as far as going in to be an executive or a manager later in my career, I probably wouldn't even have considered going to college, because I was doing pretty good with just IT certifications and experience. That's what you can do in the IT industry. You can get IT certifications and you can get experience, because in the IT industry, it's about proving yourself in terms of results, not proving yourself in terms of how you look on a piece of paper. The decline in the overall perceived importance is expected given increased concerns about value, access, quality of education, she tells CNBC Make It. However, that higher ed's target consumers aged 18 to 29 are more negative for the first time in Gallup's history measuring this topic is particularly concerning. I want you to pause right here and think. They just called college students consumers. Who understands what that means? That means that my assessment when I was 19 years old was correct. These colleges are profit centers. These colleges are businesses. So if they're a business, then you need to approach college like a business person making a business decision. Is this investment going to give me a return? Am I going to get a return on investments? Because they specifically have segmented their market. They have a target market. They have a demographic for their market. They are essentially selling you education. That's what they're doing. So if they're going to sell you something, should you buy it? Should you borrow money from the banks, from the government, to buy what they're selling? That's the question you need to think of. It's concerning not only for policymakers interested in maintaining the competitiveness of the United States labor force as compared to peer nations, but also for those interested in helping Americans get ahead financially. How in the world would you be able to get ahead financially if you have a job that pays you $60,000 and you have $300,000 in debt? That is very difficult to do, okay? You would have to come up with a plan to be able to crush that debt before you even started to get to the point where you experience any level of financial freedom. It would seem like you would just be immersed in that debt. Getting a college degree, if done right, is still the best investment you're ever going to make, Greg McBride, chief financial analyst at Bankrate, tells CNBC Make It. I see it a little bit differently. I say that there are several options. There's blue-collar jobs you can consider before considering a technology degree. There's plumbers who make six figures. So this old adage that to get a college degree, college is the best investment, to me, is simply great marketing for the profit centers called college institutions. Even with a modest amount of debt, borrowing $30,000, which is the typical debt of an undergrad for $1 million in additional lifetime earnings, that's a pretty good return on investment. That seems plausible, but the reality is that it depends. Like when do you get the job and what constraints are you under in the timing, because it's an investment, they're a business, and your life is pretty much has to be run like a business. And if you don't get that job before the first payment is due, those interest rates, they will start to stack up, and that $30,000 will turn into $100,000 before you even know it. Okay, and yes, you'll make $1 million in additional lifetime earnings. Yes, you will, but you also have other responsibilities that are being added to your life as the years go on. And those things, some of them are uncertain. Some of them are you didn't prepare for. Some of them you have prepared for. But nonetheless, if you're dealing with this ball of debt from college, it doesn't give you the flexibility to be able to make decisions and maneuver around with your career that will cause you to be able to succeed at a quicker pace. You can look more closely at how much the U.S. debt total has increased over the past decade. It just keeps going up. That's pretty much what it's doing. So what I wanted to do with this particular article is show you that the student debt increased by 170% this decade. The Federal Reserve data that we just went over just now gives you a clear understanding that that's not good. And what I want you to take into consideration is everything I said in response to this article, which is, it's a great article, but they're still, to me, in my opinion, touting higher education. And I tout higher education. I support higher education. I have higher education. But what I want you to consider is it right for you? So go to JumpStartITAcademy.com and you can check out a course that I have. It's called Fast Track Through College. If you want to avoid the heavy debt of going to college, I would suggest you check out this course. It will essentially cause you to save thousands of dollars in investing in your education, because what I did was I took the money that I got from my GI Bill and I was able to get a associate's, bachelor's, and master's degree for under $40,000. I was able to do that because I fast tracked through college. And I show you how to do that with a course called Fast Track Through College. So you can check out that course and it would allow you to fast track through college as well. I was able to graduate in 6 months with an accredited college degree, and I would like to see you do the same thing should college be a decision that you make, so you can avoid being a statistic of all this debt that's incurred from colleges taking your money, but in some cases not being able to give you a great return on your investment. JumpStart IT Academy, get skilled in IT over a college degree. Go to JumpStartIT.com and you can check out, we have courses, we have books, and coaching that's available for you. See you in the next video.